few moments following Rupert's experience with the rain creature, he had another. His eyes were wide open and he stood in the exceedingly small kitchen when suddenly there appeared before him a round, soft yellow light. He saw it physically, yet could find no physical cause for it. It lasted several seconds and disappeared. As soon as Rupert saw it, he leaped back. The last line in the poem he had completed just before dinner spoke of a light that would illuminate both worlds, one of the soul and one of the flesh. Consciously, he thought the light must have been caused by lightning, even while he knew with another portion of himself that that was not the case. A moment later, the line from his poem came to him and he made the proper connection. The conscious mind was disturbed for a moment, but it assimilated the data. The meaning of the light will become even clearer through Rupert's dreams, the intuitive continuation of the poem and physical example. The meaning of the light will normally become unfolded as he is ready to fully perceive it. While the event has happened, therefore, like any event, it is not completed. In the drug experience mentioned before, startling and forced symbols and occurrences are suddenly thrust upon the conscious mind, and more, within a context in which time, as it knows, has little meaning. It, the conscious mind, cannot reflect upon phenomena subjectively. They happen too quickly. Within their happening, there may be a distorted, to it, grotesque duration in which action may be seemingly impossible. No separation between self and experience may be allowed. Even an exalted experience can be an assault upon consciousness if it is forced. The price paid is much too high as far as the entire personality is concerned. The feelings that are often realized in later sessions, say of rebirth, are indeed that. The old organizations of the self have fallen, and the new structures do indeed rejoice in their oneness and vitality. A strong suicidal base frequently exists here. The knowledge is present that the old self did not make it, so what assurance does the so-called new self have? Again, the body is a living sculpture. I'm going to stop for a moment. This is a coincidence. My bookmark is a picture of the viewpoint that basically I would have if I was standing back just 20 feet or so looking, and it's very interesting. We're normally not outside here. It says again, the body is a living sculpture. You are in it and you form it. And it is to all intents and purposes you while you are physical. You must identify your material being with it. Otherwise you feel alienated from your biological identity. This identity is your physical self through which now, in your terms, all expressions must come. You are more than your temporal being alone. Your life as a creature is dependent upon your alliance with flesh. You will exist when your body is dead, but practically speaking, you will always be working through an image of yourself. If you identify with your body alone, then you may feel that life after death is impossible. If you consider yourself a mental being only, however, you will not feel alive in the flesh, but separated from it. Think of yourself as a physical creature now. Know that later you will still operate through another form, but that the body and the material world are your present modes of expression. These attitudes are highly important. In a strong drug experience, you take physical demonstration out of its natural framework, presenting it in such a way that its usual reactions make no sense. A world may be tumbling down upon you, for example, yet there's no adequate physical defense or retaliation possible. The psychiatrist may say, go along entirely with the experience. If necessary, become annihilated. And this flies directly in the face of your biological heritage and the common sense of the conscious mind. I am quite aware of the distorted religious connections made here. Die to yourself and you will be reborn. You will not kill yourself. What you think of as the self dies and is reborn constantly, as the cells of your body do. Biologically and spiritually, new life relies upon these innumerable changes and transformations, deaths and births that occur naturally both in the seasons of the earth and those of the psyche. Change flexibly with the gracious dance of all being that is reflected in the universe of the body and mind. This does not include the crucifixion of the ego. It is always because you do not trust the natural self that you resort to such drug therapy. The individuals who seek out treatment fear the nature of their own identity more than anything else. They are then only too willing to sacrifice it. Your thoughts and beliefs form your reality. There is, as Joseph, which is Seth's name for the person writing this, there is, as Joseph said in our break, no magic therapy. Only an understanding of your own great creativity and the knowledge that you yourself make your world. Repeating, there is, as Joseph said in our break, no magic therapy. Only an understanding of your own great creativity and the knowledge that you yourself make your world. In physical life, the soul is clothed in chemicals, and you will use the ingredients you take into your body to form an image that is in line with your beliefs. Some of these ideas will undoubtedly be accepted by you from your culture. Your beliefs about any chemical will affect what it does to you. Under LSD therapy, you expect a drastic reaction and are told to prepare yourself. Your experience will follow your beliefs, and your therapist communicated verbally and telepathically. If you believe, however, that the chemicals in certain foods will harm you drastically and bring about disastrous consequences, then even small doses of these can do you harm. And then jumping over to page 81, starting at 1125, he says, now, in the normal cycle of the death and rebirth of cells, and the usual pattern in which the ego constantly changes, there in a smooth flow and no loss of orientation. And I think that's supposed to be there is a smooth flow and no loss of orientation. Previous cellular memory is carried along easily from one cell generation to another. As mentioned earlier, what you call the ego is a portion of the inner identity that rises to face the world of physical existence. In the regular course of events, it will change into another ego, but while losing its dominant status, it will not die to itself. It will alter its organization as a part of the living psyche. Under enforced annihilation, there is a frantic attempt at reorganization as the inner self tries to send up alternate egos to handle the situation. And in those terms, the more egos you kill, the more will emerge. In all of this, the body's situation is highly agitated, and the physical organism is forced to respond as best it can to a series of disastrous events, which, however, it realizes it cannot be experiencing physically. It knows a mock battle is going on, but cannot stop itself from sending forth those chemicals and hormones necessary to a physical situation of like degree. There is a great wear and tear on the body and an inexcusable exhaustion of its native energies.